Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Money Show. We are on the 27th episode, and that's so exciting. Really quick, before we get into the question of the day, as well as a table of contents, please like this video. It would be greatly appreciated because it sends it out to the YouTube world and more people come to visit us. And our views have been higher, and I know that's because you guys haven't been liking it. So thank you guys in advance for liking this video. If you're a replay game, also go ahead and like this video for me. Appreciate it. So let's get into our first question, which is Elon Musk going to be able to deliver for Tesla? That is going to be our first topic because they are promising that if he does deliver for them, they will make him the world's first trillionaire. And I don't think the world has seen a trillionaire yet. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So the first topic is going to be Musk getting $1 trillion as far as the table of contents is concerned. Then we're going to be talking about the August 2025 jobs report. And lastly, we're going to be talking about Taylor Swift tax because that's a new thing apparently. And I want to find out from you guys what you think about it. All right. So as far as Tesla and possibly making Elon the first trillionaire ever. And I looked up who is the richest man. I don't know who the richest man is today, but the richest man in history so far has been Mansa Musa. He was a Mali king from Africa, and he was worth, when you count into inflation to modern day times, he was worth $400 billion. And I don't think anybody today is worth that much yet. Let's see. Who is the richest person right now? Elon. Oh, his net worth is around 342 billion to 407 billion. So let's take the average. The average of that is still not above 400 billion. So I'm going to give it to Mansa Musa at the moment, right? But this is going to be a compensation agreement, and it's going to take him 10 years to reach this goal. The responsibilities attached, though, are kind of extensive. So first, he has to grow the robotax business. He has to grow their robot business as well. I forgot to put that in here. And he has to grow the market value of Tesla to at least $8.5 trillion. And for context purposes, the company is only worth $1 trillion. I hate to say only, like $1 trillion isn't a lot. But going from 1 to 8.5 in 10 years is very rich for anybody's blood. So that leads me back to the question. Let me go back. Is Elon Musk going to be able to do it? And I'm going to type that out. Go ahead and answer me, guys, in the Discord so we can get the discussion going. I hate typing too. Don't laugh at my typing skills for Tesla. Put that here. All right. If he gets that $1 trillion after 10 years, he is said to have a stake of more than 25%. And that is honestly his goal because according to Elon, he is tired of not having a bigger stake because he is one of the biggest minds that has helped the company. And arguably, like, he has driven the company for the world to want to buy Tesla. And right now he only has a 13% stake. And there were talkings about him saying that he was going to be out if something wasn't given to him because he feels he's earned it at this point. I find this dubious, and I tend not to put my opinion in it, but this can be an argument, and let's argue in the Discord. I think this is a dubious task because growth 8 times of what you are now in 10 years is very doubtful. That is very hard. And I argue like Tesla is like maybe a 2-trick pony. I won't say it's like a 1-trick pony, but the novelty of electric vehicles is not novel anymore. And as far as market share is concerned, they're not the biggest company. China is actually beating them several times over. And people aren't checking for Tesla too much here in America. They're not checking for Tesla in Europe at all. And I'm not aware of where like I could see there being an 8 times amount of growth in their company. They have a bad reputation currently, and that can change. Reputations can change. Companies can come around, but the man has a bad reputation as well as the company has a bad reputation. I did not put this in last week's show, but last week they were, I was going to put in that like in Europe, their sales are like an abomination. Like quarter after quarter after quarter, it's getting worse. As well as they have bad press because they don't pay their partners. Like the smaller companies that they contract out, these companies are going bankrupt because they never get payment. So the bad reputation is not going to help them grow 8 times in 10 years. And then also, I don't think they are taking into account global warming is unpredictable, and it's going to become more unpredictable and more unpredictable. And when I say that, it's going to affect homes. It's going to affect infrastructure in the world that is only getting older, and we're not taking account for it, at least in America. I think Europe is more forward thinking about that. In fact, I know because they're investing in it more so than we are. Batteries. That's the reason why I call them a two, what do you call it? A two pony show, because they are interested in like renewable energy, and that could be good for homes and businesses and whatnot. But those are expensive. And with geopolitical issues that are happening, where they're going to source this from China, from Africa, it goes into ethical things, and it goes into the Cold War fight for like resources to make these batteries. And I don't think there's enough. And that means it's going to get expensive, as well as that's not going to help with the growth, because if it's expensive, people aren't going to buy it. And also data centers are coming up, right? And they are very expensive. And if you want to be all about robots and you want to be about robo taxis, you are going to be using a lot of electricity, a lot of data, a lot of water, and those are expensive. And I don't think there's money that's going to be coming in to help that company grow. Are you with me? In the comments. So let's see what East Boogie says. He says, I'm hoping he can deliver for Tesla. They are one of the Magnificent Seven, and their performance will affect my portfolio. Yes. I hope they deliver for you too, because they're tech, but they're tech in cars. I don't know. I think 8 times is a lot. I think they did this to keep him on board because, again, I think he was threatening to leave. And as much as they cause him, as he causes them a headache, I think they're scared to not have him. What will the company be? So as far as the question I put absolutely not. I do not think he's going to be able to deliver. But East Boogie, I hope he does for you, because I'm not going to lie. When I was preparing the show, I was like, maybe I should buy some Tesla. Like one stock, because it's like $300 something. I can buy one, right, at some point. But like I said, I think the board is desperate. And the board has made it known that they do not like his lack of 100% focus on the company. And when I say he doesn't have that much focus, is because Elon has like 11 jobs. I'm not exaggerating. That's why I put pictures of all his other businesses. He has Starlink with several governments. He has X, formerly known as Twitter. He has SpaceX, and he also has XAI, which is his AI format that he's trying to bring to fruition and a lot of prosperity. That is a lot. So if he's not focused, that's not good for the board. But Elon is saying, if you want me focused, you got to show me the money. I do think for Tesla, it's going to be expensive to not be realistic. I don't think they're being realistic about him. They want to keep him. Fine. I'm not going to begrudge him, but I don't know if keeping him is going to keep them on the forefront. There is no other great mind that they could find. Maybe they're proving that, no, they don't think so. Maybe they've looked and they're like, nah, we're good with him. And I said, it's expensive to not be realistic, because I don't think, East Boogie said, laugh out loud. I don't think they're being realistic about China. Nobody's talking about China. We're very American centric. China is going to whip everybody's butt. America's not letting China come over here with their EVs, because they probably think that would not be a good idea for Tesla and other companies like Ford and GMC, who are slowly but surely adding electric vehicles into their lineup. And as far as we know, the first key KPI that he has to meet is that he has to get Tesla's valuation up to $2 trillion. I don't know if that's in 1 or 2 years, but he has to meet that to get a little bit of money. So yeah, we'll see, but I don't know. That is a tall order, but if he makes it, he's going to be the world's first trillionaire. Now let's go into the next topic. While you're at it, please like this video. If you're on the Discord, there are 3 other people here. That is what's up. Thank you guys so much for being here. My next question is, will lower interest rates help increase jobs? Today is the 9th, and the 16th and the 17th, the Fed is going to be meeting. And that is when we are going to know if rates are indeed going to be decreasing. And word around town is that's probably going to happen. Before I give you guys my answer, I want you guys to think about it and let me know in the comments. And we're going to talk about the jobs report. So the jobs report for August 2025. The goal was 75,000 jobs, but reality is we only earned $22,000 jobs. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I have never seen these numbers so low before in my life. They used to be like 6 figures. In the last 3 months or 2 months, they have been 5 figures. I don't know if that's going to be the new normal, but that's the thing. And then we also had June 2025 revision come up. And the reality is we actually lost jobs. We lost 13,000 jobs in June this year. And that loss is the first time we've lost jobs in June in the last 4.5 years or 4 years. So I don't know if that, I'm not going to say that's good or bad. I'm just presenting like the information that I've put together that I have gleaned from the sources. And this source is from Yahoo Finance as well as Fortune. Yearly revisions happen around this time of the year. I did not know that, but that was news. And then I was like, well, does this happen all the time? Apparently it does. I just never paid attention as much as I do now. So in 2025, it was recently reported, like within the last 48 hours, that 911,000 fewer jobs were added in the past year. So I was like, okay, that sounds bad, but is there a relative number to compare it to? And there is. In 2024, I'm sorry, that's a typo. There were actually 818,000 fewer jobs in the past year. So apparently this is normal. This is just a larger number, and that could be cause for concern. East Boogie, when asked the question, will lower interest rates help increase jobs? He says no. Okay. Let's go. So as far as how this leads us to what could possibly be happening next Tuesday and Wednesday is this is increasing pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates. The unemployment rate was found to go slightly up at 4.3%. And long-term unemployment is up to 6 million people now. It was like 5.7 million, I think, last month. So the bottom line is we have fewer jobs in the American economy at this very moment, and we have a weaker economy. So when I asked y'all the question, I'm going to give y'all my answer. Will lower interest rates help increase the jobs? I said, I don't think so. Because what I think is going to happen is these companies are going to find a way to make more money from getting cheaper debt. But I don't know if they're necessarily going to find more jobs. Just like they say, giving them tax breaks is going to help them put more money into the company, which is going to help like the workers. But what happens is, what do? They buy back their stock and then they have record number of profits. So I don't necessarily think it's going to. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to. And the revelation of the actual numbers, guys, is just showing that it has not been good for years. And this is bypassing administration, because the newest thing that's out that we have almost $1 million less, that was not in Trump. That was in Biden's territory, right? This time is more Biden than it is Trump. And the year before, when we lost 811,000 jobs, that was also Biden. So it's not one president over the other, one political party over the other. The economy is struggling. And for more context, this past year, healthcare and hospitality was the only thing that saved us. Manufacturing jobs are gone. And across other industries, the jobs are not doing what they need to be doing as far as like being presented and having people be hired from these job postings. I think it's mainly because services is our American economy. We don't make things. We're just, we provide services. We get things made, brought over here. And I do think we're going to have to get creative because tariffs are here now. And tariffs are being argued that it is being created. The only thing is, historically, tariffs have not helped us. The last time we had tariffs, we had the Great Depression. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it is possible. And I think only time will tell. But that's where we're at right now. The economy has not been good for years. And then our last topic is Taylor Swift tax. And I titled it Taylor Girl, exclamation point, because this is going to be interesting. So my question is, I'm talking about her, is when much is given, is much required? I'm going to type that in the Discord. Because she has a lot of money. She's a billionaire. She has so much money, states are wanting extra money from her. And so let's talk about what this is. So the Taylor Swift tax has just been passed in Rhode Island. And more specifically, it's called the non-owner occupied property tax. That's its official name. And it applies to luxury second homes, not your first home, but your second home. And Taylor Swift mansion is thought to be one of the impetuses of why this was brought through the legislature and eventually passed. She has a very nice seaside mansion over there in Watch Hill, Rhode Island, and you guys will see different views in other slides. But some say that this is a reaction to the wealthy buying second homes in these areas, affluent areas, and because when you buy a second home, you increase the prices of every other home around you, right? And then when you increase the price, you create a cost of living problem for the people who have maybe been grandfathered in, who have lived there for generations, and now they can't pay the taxes, or the people who keep the economy together, which is like your everyday professions, they can't afford to live there anymore. So this is Rhode Island's attempt to have some money taken from these people who can afford it through the tax and put it back into the community to help the community continue. So when I ask the question, when much is given, is much required? I put yes. I just think it's grandfathered in. I can speak from experience, not because I'm rich, because I'm not, but when you have like a high position or a high standard, it just comes with it that you want to preserve it. So you have to put more work into it. And the same is with money. When you have more money, you have more responsibilities. And I think this is another way this shows up in life. When much is given, much more is required. That's my opinion. Let me know in the Discord what you guys think. And if you are in the rewatch gang, let me know in the comments. So this levy applies if you have property value that's over $1 million and you do not live in that home full time. This is a more aerial view of this house. It is gorgeous. It's amazing. I can't, like, what a life. Very nice. And you are to pay $2.50 per $500 for any amount over $1 million. So if you have a $2 million home, that comes out to $5,000 of tax a year, of an extra tax. If you have a $17 million home, that is your second home, and you do not live in it full time, your taxes turn out to be $80,000 per year. And I put that number because when she bought it like a few years ago in the 2010s, she bought it for $17 million. The house is now worth $23 million. So with inflation or appreciation taken into account, now she's going to be required to pay $135,000 of taxes a year. But mind you, she's a billionaire. She can afford it, right? And starting in 2027, adjustment for inflation will apply in this law. And the law goes into effect 2026. There are pros and cons to it. This article that I found from Kiplinger argued pros and cons, which I appreciated. The first pro is that it allows investing in affordable housing, again, to keep this foundation, the foundations of the economy and the community up. Because if people are pushed out because they can't live there, it's going to go to hell. We're experiencing that in a lot of cities, especially one I live in. People are moving out of Florida because Miami is expensive. It is too expensive to live here. And rich people move here all the time, but they're not going to have the resources. They're not going to have firefighters. They're not going to have nurses. They're not going to have cops. They're probably not even going to have doctors. They're not going to have all the services that they need, because what are we again? We are a service-based community. Those are going to be gone. Another pro is that it nudges people to use their homes more. I don't see the harm in all that, right? Some cons is that it turns away patrons from local economies and it hurts the housing market, which people are saying don't charge us because the rich will no longer want to. But the thing is, the rich will want to do, they'll never stop wanting to have nice things because they can afford it. So they just need to, I guess, add that tax into their budget because it looks like it's coming. It's at least coming in Rhode Island. Other states are doing this though as well. Massachusetts has some type of tax like this going on. Montana does. And I remember because I, for a while, was on that show Yellowstone. That happens a lot in Montana. A lot of rich people from California go to Montana and have their second homes, and it can ruin communities. Maine is doing that as well as California. Someone who's not on the list is Florida. They're not doing that. I'm not surprised. I live in Florida. I would have known about this. They're not doing that. I only knew about this because it's a Taylor Swift and I was curious. And I'm like, oh, they don't have that in Florida. And then the last topic, guys, is gold. I set this up a little differently and had a little different color added to contrast because today, September 9th, gold is the highest price I think it's been all year, $36, pretty much $100. Now, compare that to January 1st when it was $2,600. It is $1,000 more to own gold, an ounce of gold. And I did the math. You know how much of an increase this is? 38%. Can anybody tell me where they know that they can get a 38% return on investment in 8 and 9 months or even a year? The only one that normally you would say in a normal world, we don't live in a normal world anymore, would be real estate. Sometimes you have really good years in real estate where you can get a 38% return. And then sometimes if you have a growth stock like Amazon or Tesla before it blew up, maybe. But $3,600. Now, I plan to invest in gold in 2026. I could be at the mindset where it's like, you know what? It's too rich for my blood. There's no point. It's already up there. But do not be surprised the way the world is going. It may be 4,000 2026. It could be in 27. That is 7. So yes, it sucks. I've missed out on 38%, but it could have been that I could lose out on more if I just have that mindset, right? So I'm still going to invest, and it's food for that. And that's it for this episode, guys. Just to wrap up, Elon Musk has a lot of work to do. He has a lot of work to do. He said he wanted more money. They said, we're going to give you things to meet before you give you that money. And at that point, if you do, you'll be worth $1 trillion, but we would have gotten so much more $1 trillion. So it's fine. But you have to do the work. The jobs reports show that America has to switch it up. Supposedly tariffs is our current attempt at switching it up. And it's only been 6 or 7 months. It's possible it might work, but we definitely have to switch it up because our economy has not been good for years. And the rich may have to start paying more taxes to states because federally, they're good. Federally, the tax code is doing really well, but for the rich, but states are catching on and they want their money. Also, gold is up 38%. So it's food for thought. If you're looking for an investment opportunity, this might be it. Or maybe what's the other one? Silver or platinum. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this Tuesday evening. And I will see you guys next Tuesday evening with episode 28.